Like other Puranas, Srimad Bhagavad Puran also narrates a number of stories relating to the various incarnations of Vishnu, also known as avatars of Vishnu. One such avatar was Varaha avatar, who rescued Prithvi from being usurped by the demon Hiranyaksha. The story has been told to Vidura by Rishi Maitreya. Earlier, Vidur had been exiled from the kingdom of the Kauravas by his evil nephew Duryodhan. So he walked over all the way to Haridwar. The early morning mist had not lifted when Vidur entered Haridwar, the holiest of the holy cities at the foothill of the Himalayas, where Ganga commenced her journey onto the northern plains. Soon he arrived at the sylvan ashram of Rishi Maitreya. The hermitage was situated on the mountainous side of the river and was surrounded by Kadamba, Malushri and tamarind trees. The aroma of yellow kadamba flowers wafted on the cool mountain breeze. Vidur knew of Krishna's fondness for this tree and its pretty, round and fragrant flowers. Krishna played on his flute under this tree, and entranced by the music, the gopis thronged around him. Vidur approached Rishi Maitreya for knowledge and a narration of the exploits of Bhagwan in various avatars. Perhaps this could provide him with some answers about the birth and destruction of evil. "You are kind to the humble, Rishi Maitreya," said Vidur. "Like a bee sucks honey from flowers, you can narrate the stories of God's exploits for our welfare. What was the compulsion for the divine to assume the form of a boar and dive deep into the oceans?" Maitreya replied, "When Swayambhu Manu with his wife Satarupa approached the Holy Father Brahma, seeking divine guidance for procreation and performance of noble deeds, he was advised, 'Beget progeny that is noble and pious. Enjoy Prithvi according to Dharma and for the welfare of all mankind. Never be selfish or self-centered. You hold Prithvi in trust for the divine.' Mark these words. Any king should hold his kingdom in trust for the divine, for doing good deeds, for looking after people." "Sire," said Manu, "I am unable to see any land where to settle my progeny. Prithvi on which I could have reared them has been drowned in the pralaya waters." Brahma could see the problem. After all, he knew everything. "That is what necessitated the arrival of Bhagwan as Varaha avatar," said Maitreya. But even here there was a twist. In the pralaya floods, Prithvi had been abducted by Hiranyaksha, who wanted to enjoy her alone and not share her fruit, crops and minerals with anyone else. "Maharshi," interrupted Vidura, "I learned from another Mahatma that both the demons Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha were born to Rishi Kashyap, who had fathered the Devatas as well. How did this come about?" "Rishi Kashyap was married to several daughters of Daksha Prajapati, including one named Diti," replied Maitreya. "Once upon a time, at the hour of the evening prayers, when Kashyap was immersed in deep contemplation, Diti approached him and said, 'Like a bull elephant gone amok, uprooting a banana tree, the Almighty Kamdev has ignited an overpowering desire in me to bear a son, like my other sisters, married to you and cared for lovingly by you.' She was in heat. Maharishi Kashyap tried to dissuade her by telling that this was not an opportune hour, that this was an hour devoted exclusively to meditation, an hour when Bhagwan Shankara, the Bhutnath, moved around riding his bull, accompanied by Bhut, Pret, and Pishach in the cremation grounds. But Diti was persistent. Out of this union were born the two Rakshasas, Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha. Long before their birth, Maharshi Kashyap had told Diti that these children would grow up to be demons and would harass mankind as none before. When the twins were born, the universe experienced a disturbance. There were tremors and earthquakes. Mountains shook to the core. Thunderstorms uprooted trees. Lightning created havoc, destroying many trees and farms. The skies were full of bad omens, like falling stars and meteors. The sun and the moon were eclipsed untimely. Vidur, lightning flashed in the sky even when the firmament was cloudless. The lotus dried up in the ponds. Flooding rivers destroyed crops. Blood oozed from the udders of the cows. Donkeys ran amok. Dogs wailed like sirens. Everyone thought that the end of the world was near. What happened to Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha? Asked Vidura. They were growing like giants, said Maitreya. They grew so tall that their crowns pierced Swargalok. Their expanse was so vast that at times even sunlight could not reach the earth. Golden armlets shone on their arms. The brilliance of their waistbands dimmed even the effulgence of the sun. When they walked, the earth felt tremors. When they talked, the winds blew like storms. In search of adventure, Hiranyaksha once arrived at Swargalok. He wore twinkling golden anklets on his legs. A garland of victory adorned his neck. He carried a massive mace on his shoulders. His determination, his prowess, and the blessing of Brahma had made him intemperate and hot-headed. Not able to face his demonic power, the Devatas ran helter-skelter. Even Indra could not vanquish Hiranyaksha. Having trammeled the bewitching landscape of Swargalok, the demon dived into an ocean for a soothing bath. Varuna, the lord of the oceans, did not know how to take him on. His soldiers ran away in fright. Hiranyaksha had no opponents to fight, so he waved his mace at the mighty ocean currents. Soon he arrived at Varuna's capital, Vibhapuri, taunting the master of Patallok. Hiranyaksha mockingly bowed in his presence and said, Maharaja, you rule over waves, currents, and all the creatures and wealth under water. Please be charitable. Do me a favor. Give me arms. Let me fight you in a battle to show who is superior. This is the arms he wanted. Varuna could see through the game. Wisely controlling his anger, he replied with a smile, I am too old to fight you in a battle. The Almighty alone can defeat you. You go to him. He will certainly fulfill your desire. Maitreya continued. The Rakshasa was pleased with this suggestion. He approached Narad to find the whereabouts of Bhagwan. Following the lead, he went further down and stood face to face with Bhagwan Varaha, who was floating upwards with Prithvi delicately perched on his snout. Two red eyes emitted a piercing light in Bhagwan's head. They dimmed the golden glow of Hiranyaksha's eyes. The latter laughed at the sight of a boar with Prithvi resting on his snout. Haughtily he challenged the animal. O dimwit, let go of Prithvi. Brahma has given her custody to me. I shall not allow you to run off with this trophy as long as I am alive. She is for me and my companions to ravish as we please. Varaha kept quiet. Not his opponent. You might be an incarnation of God, continued Hiranyaksha. But you are nothing more than a delusion. You are just a bore, a weakling. I am real. I shall destroy you with one blow of my mighty mace. It is in your interest to surrender Prithvi to me. I shall brook no opposition, no delay. How did Bhagwan react to such a blatant challenge? Asked Vidura. He had seen enough of demonic behavior in the Kaurava brothers. He knew the opacity of insolence and the intoxication of power. Bhagwan ignored him and continued rising upwards. Said Maitreya. He noticed that Prithvi was trembling in fear. He settled her at a proper place and empowered her to stay stable in the firmament. Thereafter, he addressed Hiranyaksha in a powerful voice. You have rightly said that I am an animal wandering in the wild, but I pursue street dogs like you in order to destroy them. How can I run away from a warrior like you without offering a fight? Come, advance, lift your mace. If you run away from your challenge, you are a coward. Hiranyaksha, hearing these insults hurled at him, slithered like a slimy reptile caught by its tail, said Maitreya. He breathed hard, gathered all his strength, lifted his mace and struck out at Varaha, who ducked the attack. In turn, Bhagwan too hit him on his right eyebrow. The demon dexterously avoided the blow. How long? Bhagwan allowed Hiranyaksha to try his might for a while. The demon was doomed to defeat. Nobody is mightier than the divine. That is the eternal principle, Mahatma Vidura. You have seen this truth tested and proved again and again at Kurukshetra. Bhagwan Varaha thought of his Sudarshan Chakra, and the burnished discus appeared instantly. Hiranyaksha angrily clenched his jaws. He looked at Bhagwan with his piercing eyes as if he would reduce him to ashes. Once again he threw his mace at Bhagwan Varaha. The latter stopped it in its tracks by just raising his left foot. He sent another mace flying. Bhagwan caught hold of it in midair like Garuda catching a snake in his beak. Hiranyaksha was getting desperate. He came up to Bhagwan Varaha and rained blows in his chest, but how can a garland of flowers hurt an elephant? This angered the demon even more. Continued Maitreya, every demon Vidura is a magician. So was Hiranyaksha. He recalled his magical powers. He created storms, clouds and lightning. He invoked a hailstorm, a bombardment of stones. He moved mountains to crush Bhagwan Varaha. Did this not try the patience of the divine Maharishi? Asked Vidura. Well, it did, replied Maitreya. With the Sudarshan Chakra, Bhagwan destroyed all the magic and illusion created by Hiranyaksha. Then with his fist, he hit the demon on his temple above his earlobe. This sent Hiranyaksha spinning. His eyes bulged. His limbs lost their strength. His hair stood up. He fell down on the floor like an aged banyan tree. Vidur found his peace of mind returning. He bowed before Rishi Maitreya as an expression of thanks. The Rishi invited him indoors, offered him hospitality. Jai Shri Krishna, Jai Shri Krishna, Jai Shri Krishna.